Have you ever wanted to make your own augmented reality app but didn't know where to start or thought it must be too complicated or difficult? Hey guys, my name is Grant and I'm an iOS developer who's bananas about augmented reality. Tools like these have made it easier than ever to make your very own augmented reality straight from your iPhone or desktop. Today I want to talk to you about Reality Composer, which Apple built specifically for making AR on iOS devices. So let's dive into what we're going to make. Today we're building the solar system in AR. If you don't have a Mac, then you should check out my other video for how to make this using just the mobile version of Reality Composer. But in this video, we're going to be developing on a Mac and then previewing in AR on iPhone or iPad because it's easier to make that way. You can find Reality Composer for free on the mobile app store, and it comes downloaded with Xcode for desktop. And here are the specs I will be working with today. So the first thing I'm going to do is open the program and go to New Document. And you'll notice we have several options for types of anchors, which allow us to attach virtual objects to real objects. Little side note about anchors, you can skip ahead if you don't care to hear about it. Everything in our virtual scene has to be attached to an anchor, which tracks something in the real world like a table or a person. Similar to an anchor for a ship, an AR anchor can keep your virtual objects in a constant position and rotation relative to that object. You'll see here we have options for horizontal planes, vertical planes, images, faces, and objects. Outside of Reality Composer and RealityKit Swift code, there are also other options for AR body anchors, app clip anchors, and others. For this app, we want to attach our content to things like the floor and tabletops, so we'll choose horizontal plane anchor. We'll leave the template content checked so that we have some stuff in the scene when we first see it. And now you're in Reality Composer, and I'm a turtle. Blah! You'll see we can start building by just going over to the object library and adding in an object. Then if we have Reality Composer also open on our iPhone or iPad, I can select it here and preview what I just made in AR. If you want to be notified when my next tutorial comes out, be sure to hit that subscribe and notification button. So let's take a little tour to check this out. So over here, you'll see it has an object library with some awesome assets completely for free. Or we can drag and drop in our own 3D assets and use those as well. If you do this, make sure they're in the USDZ file format, which is what RealityKit requires. We can also use Reality Converter to convert other assets to the USDZ format. So you'll notice we can click and drag to rotate or command click to pan around. And if you ever get lost or can't see your work, you can double click and it will bring you back into the frame. So we can click on this object here and you'll see we have this nice green ring around here, and if we pull out from the center it will scale the object. If we move along the ring it will rotate it, and you'll notice as we move around we get these different rings that we can use to rotate it. And then to move it we can either grab here in the center and move it around or move it along an axis like this. And then if you want to move it back to the center you can go right over here to position, press the reset button, and it will move it back to 0, 0, 0. We can add in different scenes. So I encourage you to just have a look around and just click on stuff. So be sure to name your objects the way that you want them because this will be useful later on in code. So I'm going to name this the sun object. So I'll go up here and click and I'll call this solar system project. And you'll notice it's saved in the Reality Composer folder in iCloud. So making our solar system is basically just a matter of adding in objects and then adding behaviors to those objects. So if we go over here to the object library and down to science, you can see that we have all of the planets, an asteroid, the sun. So here's the Earth, and this has a different scale, but it is not named. So let's see if we remember the names of the planets. Pluto, Charon, Cupid. So I'm not going to make everything to scale and make it spin accurately, but you are of course free to do that if you would like. If you guys are interested in that, I'll leave a link down in the description below to a place that has all the different orbital links and a playground that I made for scaling them. Okay, so now I'm going to scale these up a bit and then add in Venus and give it a name. So this is looking pretty good, but you'll notice if I press spacebar or play, nothing happens. So we've got this static AR scene. So what we want is for these to rotate and orbit around the sun. And so we can go to behaviors and add a behavior, and you'll see we have presets here, or we can add a custom one. And in this case, we're going to add a custom one. So you'll notice each behavior has a trigger that triggers the action sequence, and the action sequence performs something like an animation or a sound or some kind of process. So in this case, we're going to use scene start because we want this to happen as soon as the scene has begun. Our action sequence is going to be orbit. Our affected object is going to be this planet, the Earth, and the center of the orbit is going to be the sun. We can press done, and if we go ahead and press play, you'll see, whoa, that's a little bit quick. So we can increase that duration a bit, and it will slow down. We could also make the orbit tilt a bit if you like. And according to Google, the orbit direction is counterclockwise, as is the rotation. So we also need to add a spin to make it rotate on its axis. And if we do it this way, we'll have this action perform for this long, and then it will start to perform this action. So if we want to do them at the same time, we'll drag this one on top. And now you'll see they're combined. And we want to set these to be about the same duration. Probably spin a few times counterclockwise. And booyah, there it goes. To be realistic, this would be 365, but it looks a little wild. Okay, so now it's important to point out the center here actually is the surface of the tabletop since we chose horizontal plane anchors. So we do need to move this up a bit to keep it off the floor. So I'm going to press Command A and then move this up a bit. So I'm going to go up to about 80 centimeters, which is about half the height of an adult human. If you try to set these properties in this panel over here, do be careful. This will automatically switch between meters and centimeters. And just for fun, I want to show you guys how to incorporate physics into the experience. This particular one won't need it because everything has a fixed and predictable motion, but if you were going to build a game like ping pong or bowling, you would want your objects to be able to fall and collide with one another. So in order to do that, we're going to click on our object, go over to the properties panel, and we're going to click participates under physics. And you'll notice if we press play now, nothing happens to this because it has a fixed motion type. But if we click dynamic and then press play, you'll see it falls down. And we can drag this up and press play and it will bounce. And you can change the material type, which will affect how hard it is to move around. And its collision shape, which is a simplified version of the shape that you see, which makes it easier for the computer to calculate how it should act when it bumps into another object. Alright, now we need to go ahead and add our behaviors to the other two planets as well. So I'm going to go over here and change the Earth spin behavior to blue. And then I want to make sure that this is looped so that the Earth takes more than one trip around the sun. And then I'm going to duplicate this behavior for Venus and call this Venus spin. And then I want to change the affected object for each of these actions to the other planet. Alright, and we'll go ahead and make this one go a little bit faster. Make sure that these durations are set to the same. And then I'll duplicate this behavior for Mercury and call this Mercury spin. And then again, we'll change the affected object to the next planet. And then we'll make this one again go a little bit quicker. And then press play. And there it goes. Yeah, check it out. Alright, we're almost done. So finishing this up is basically just a matter of adding in more objects and putting behaviors on them. So for example, we could add a behavior to this spaceship to make it spin. So we'll add a custom behavior and name this Spaceship spin. We'll change that color. And again, we'll use the scene start trigger and the spin action. Choose this affected object here. Increase the duration a little bit and press play. And there it goes. Okay, let's see how this looks in AR. If it shows content unavailable, then just click on the object and press download on your screen. And then we'll go ahead and press this AR button at the top. Alright, there it is. And we'll go ahead and move this around just a bit. If you're not in play mode, you can actually edit your scene while in AR. Just make sure to press done in the upper left, and then you'll see your changes reflected on your Mac as well. We'll go up here and press play to watch it run, and there it goes. And that's your introduction to Reality Composer. As a challenge, see if you guys can add in the other planets and any other objects that you want, like spaceships or asteroids. I'll upload a completed project and leave it down in the description below for you guys to look at. If you have any questions or any other topics you want me to cover, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. In my next video, I'll show you guys how you can share AR experiences in the Messages app. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.